19, a year of the good news. I had a dream a few nights ago where in my dream I saw a building complex. In this building complex represented a church, and there were workers busy fortifying the building and strengthening the inside. And I heard the voice of the Lord saying to me, now is not the time to consolidate on the inside, but now is the time to press out into the harvest, to advance into the harvest. I believe what the Lord is saying to us is that there are churches that are struggling on the inside with many pressures from the outside. And so they are decided to strengthen the inside, to build on the inside and make themselves strong. But the Lord is saying, now is the time not to try and strengthen the inside, but move out into the harvest, for the harvest is ripe. I asked the Lord for a scripture that would show us whether this is what the Lord is saying. And the Lord took me to 2 Kings 6 from verse 24 to chapter 7 verse 20. And this is where the city of Samaria was surrounded by the Aramean army. And they were under siege, and the people were beginning to starve on the inside. And the king went to Elisha, and Elisha said that tomorrow food will be so plentiful that it will sell for cheap. And the soldier on which the king was resting, his arm that he was resting on, said, even if God opens the floodgates of heaven, it is impossible, it cannot happen. And Elisha said to him, you will see this with your own eyes, but you will not eat any of it. And that is exactly what happened to him. Outside the city were 4 lepers who were starving themselves. They were in a more dire situation than the people on the inside because nobody brought them any food. And they decided, they said, we will go over to the enemy's camp. If we stay here, we die. If we go there, we could also die. But maybe they will have mercy on us and give us food. And so they stumbled forward to the enemy's camp. But the Lord caused the enemy to hear chariots and horses. And they thought that the Israelites had hired a whole bunch of armies to come and defend them. And so the Arameans fled. And when the 4 lepers came into the camp, there were nobody there except they'd left all the spoils there. The Lord routed the enemy supernaturally. And so they started taking some of the food and hiding it in the ground. And then they realized, no, what we are doing is not good. This is a day of good news. We must immediately go and tell the royal palace. Because if we do not do this, punishment will come to us. And so they went and reported it. And when the people there heard it, they gave the news to the king. But the king said, no, this is a trap. And so they sent out a posse to go and check out whether this is true. And they found the clothes and equipment of the people, of the army, strewn all over the road. And they reported it back. And so the people charged out to go and find the food and the spoils. And so in the same way, we must not respond to unbelief and to resistance to the gospel, or even people that do not want to decide immediately. But we must march out, because this is the day of the harvest. This is the day of the good news. This is the message for the church today. It is time for the good news. We have kept it for ourselves, but we have to have the response of these lepers to charge into the harvest, because the harvest is plentiful, the laborers are few. Today, choose whether that you will this year become active in the harvest.